Why not radio? Ooh, guys, there's literally no way where you can. The only thing that's gonna save you is if you love what you do. Yes, highlight time. I'm gonna talk with my hands because you know. My name is Noni Khumalo. This is my journey to being a content creator, brought to you by Kuyasha Media. Hello, my name is Noni Khumalo and I am a content creator. I was born in Mabopane in Pretoria, lived there for about 13 years and then moved to the West Rand. I live in Witpoort now in Roodepoort. I've always wanted to be a Joburger because I really loved the hustle and the bustle of it all. Growing up, I was definitely the hardworking one, and because I was hardworking, people automatically assumed that I was smart. So I think my brother is the smart one, I'm the hardworking one, but because I worked hard, automatically I became smart. I've always been a creative, but really got into it when I was in about grade 6. Started acting, and in that year already started winning awards for acting, for speaking. I used to always volunteer myself as a speaker for any ceremony at school, and I just always did well with balancing school and balancing, you know, my creative side. But because we live in the world that we live in, you know, you're constantly pressurized to go the academic route instead of the creative route. But yeah, I came to my senses after graduating and thought there is no way I'm not going to get into the creative space. So a content creator to me is somebody that gives me what is of interest to me, right? So for instance, one of my favorite content creators are Faro. She is a comedian. She makes me laugh. When I'm really in a bad mood, I just tune into her videos, I laugh, and it's of interest to me. She teaches me something different about different cultures. But also a content creator for me is somebody who shares things that I aspire to become or aspire to be, right? So when you look at somebody like an Anelem Doda or a Bonang Mateba, you know, they actually work in the entertainment space, but they have people following them around and creating that kind of content for them. And you get to see like the behind the scenes as well as the final product. So a content creator is somebody that gives me information that I desire to consume and enjoy. So I create 3 types of content. I podcast, I have a website, and I'm launching a YouTube channel. So my podcast focuses on anything educational. We can speak about medicine, we can speak about beauty, we can speak about relationships. And then I have a website where I blog about radio, I blog about gratitude as a concept, and again, I also blog a lot about beauty. And the YouTube channel that I'm launching is going to be called Self-Care on the Noni Khumalo podcast. That has 2 elements. The first element is where I'm sitting with a contributor in the beauty space, whether it be hair, makeup, nails. And the second part is where we literally get into the content that, you know, they shared while we were speaking, and I get to now, you know, experiment with what they said. So for instance, I'll speak to Nono B, who's the makeup artist, and she'll take us through spring trends, and whatever spring trends she speaks about, I'll then in the next video then do, you know, like a makeup tutorial based on the information that she's shared. So yeah, so those are my 3 platforms that I share a lot about beauty. I share radio, I share gratitude, I speak relationship, medicine, whatever is educational. That's what I do. I got into podcasting because of COVID-19. So I work at VFM, and because it is a radio station that's situated within a university, they had to shut down. And there really wasn't any other way for me to create content. So what I did is I literally took old content from VAL and I put it on a platform, and I thought, this is amazing. I should do more of it. I'm currently in season 2 of my podcasting journey. However, I'm doing things just slightly differently, moving very far away from the radio content that I produce. So thanks to COVID, I am now a podcaster. I got into blogging because my mentor said to me, look, you're a smart girl, start writing, because people actually hate writing. So he said to me, start writing because you will find an audience in the writing space, because a lot of the content that's out there is very visual, very instant, but you still find, quite a number of people that prefer reading over viewing a video or over seeing pictures. So he said, you're a smart girl, use those brains to do something that's phenomenal. And thank goodness I have the writing skill somewhere in me, and I thoroughly enjoy it. So my mentor suggested I do something a little bit different to everybody else that's in the entertainment space. So I decided to take that route. I got into the YouTube space because I love creating beauty content. That is probably my number one thing to do ever. So beauty is quite visual. I realized that when I speak about beauty and tips on radio, I realized that it also needs a very visual element to it. So beauty is all about the eye, it's all about visual, it's all about the drama. So the YouTube channel is sincerely just going to focus on, the self-care element, the nails, the makeup, the hair, which I think that people would also like to see. So my 3 pillars in my life are education, entertainment, and entrepreneurship. I call them the triple E's. And this is really what decides the kind of content that I create. I'm a very passionate person. I love to educate, I love to entertain, and I also love to make money. So the content that I create is solely based on that. Everything I speak about has to be educational. Everything I speak about has to have an entertainment element. And as much as I'm not necessarily making money out of the content that I create, but the vision is to, at the end, eventually start making the moolah. I think in order to start as a content creator, you need to have the willingness to start. I think the toughest part of any journey is the start, because once you start, you then get to adjust. If things aren't working accordingly, you can always restart. But I think the hardest part is the starting part. So if you have the willingness to start, you're literally 60% there. But I think another thing is, obviously in your journey, you'll experience a lot of challenges. Because I am in the entertainment space with the dream to break into the industry is pretty tight. And it's very difficult to break into it. And I think that those are some of the struggles that I encountered, breaking into the industry, as well as somebody really investing in this dream that you have as a content creator. But I think that when you start, somebody will eventually see the kind of content that you create and fall in love with it. And maybe that could then be your break into the industry, and also the break into somebody really investing in the kind of content that you create. So I create content for women between the ages of, let's say, 20 to 35, because that's where I'm at. I'm like somewhere in the middle, and I am a female. So definitely my audience has to be a woman between the ages of 20 to 35. So far my content is okay. I think that it hasn't really jumped on. It's not big yet, but I do think I've got a very small audience who are consistent with the content that I create. It is also, I think it's a challenge, but it's also something positive because I create multiple types of content. As I said, I speak about relationships, I speak about medical issues, I speak about beauty, I speak about hair, I write about radio. So because I've got so much content, that might sometimes be a challenge in terms of people trying to follow the kind of content that I create. But I think it's also positive because I am releasing all the content that I want to release, and I think that as time goes, I'll eventually find a niche and find what I want to speak about. And I guess then my audience will be a little bit tighter and be very certain that this is the kind of direction that Noni is going for. So my journey to being a content creator has been quite amazing. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I think the best part as well is that I have quite a number of side hustles, and those side hustles really do fund my content creation. So it's been fun to see my evolution with the type of content that I'm releasing. I mean, starting from a recycling content from Vow FM to creating my very own fresh content to now jumping into the YouTube space. I've got a lot of things to share with you, and I'm very excited for you to join me on the Noni Khumalo podcast. Continue following my journey on my website, nonikhumalo.co.za. Everything I do is on my website, from my podcast to my blogs as well as my YouTube channel. Check you then.